thanks so much for joining us this afternoon for our live event. My name is Greg Lewis. I'm the marketing manager here at MetaStock, and if you haven't heard of MetaStock, we are purveyors of charting software and premium market data for traders, active traders, just like yourself. Today's presentation, I should say today's presenter is our own David Derricott. I see he is finally logged in to GoToWebinar. David will be presenting from his home today, and yeah, he is now here. I was a little concerned he wasn't here. But we'll be starting in about 8 minutes. And if you haven't heard about MetaStock, let me go ahead and play a little video for you right about now. That's not it. How come I...
MetaStock is an award-winning software and data package that has been helping traders for over 35 years. Simply put, MetaStock is a tool for traders like you to analyze the markets. MetaStock helps you take the guesswork out of trading by offering a methodical, systematic approach to some key questions all traders come up against. Questions like, how do I decide which securities to trade when there are literally thousands to choose from? Which strategy should I use, and how do I test that strategy before spending my first trading dollar? When should I enter and exit a trade? How can I effectively manage the securities I'm interested in? And of course, how do I know where prices will go next? At the core of MetaStock are the Power Tools. The Power Tools give professional-grade analysis tools to private traders like you and me. You can scan the market with the MetaStock Explorer to filter and sort securities that show buy and sell signals based on your criteria. The MetaStock System Tester lets you test most strategies through a process called backtesting, which allows you to see how your strategy would have performed over time. You can easily manage and monitor the securities you are interested in with Quote Center. Quote Center lets you sort on a variety of criteria to view the data that's important to you. Then just double-click on a security if you want to see its chart. With the MetaStock Forecaster, you can even take advantage of patented technology to view probable future prices. If you're an options trader, you're going to love MetaStock's OptionScope. OptionScope puts all the critical info at your fingertips, displaying sortable, customizable, color-coded options data, including the Greeks. And MetaStock has solutions for traders of all levels and interests. If you're just getting into trading, you will appreciate the education offered by our many built-in systems. In addition to pointing out buy and sell signals, MetaStock explains how they work in an easy-to-follow commentary window. MetaStock has built-in systems based on popular strategies like MACD, Bollinger Bands, turtle trading, candlesticks, and many more. MetaStock even has the very popular and exclusive Rahul Mohindar Oscillator System, or simply known as the RMO. And as you become a more experienced trader, MetaStock grows with you. Advanced analysts will enjoy the comprehensive list of trading systems and indicators, and the ability to build their own systems. And if you're a day trader, you can't do better than Zenith, the real-time news, data, and analysis package offered by Refinitiv, a world leader in market data. Add on the world-class support, and it's not hard to see why MetaStock has won the Stocks and Commodities Reader's Choice Award for 26 consecutive years. To find out more about MetaStock and how it can help your trading, visit metastock.com or contact a product professional via phone, email, or chat.
Okay, Dave's there. We tested him. He's good to go. Nothing could go wrong. Nothing could go wrong today. We're absolutely not going to have any technical issues. I got my notes here to tell you about a couple things, so let's talk about that real quick. One, again, the presentation starts in about 4 minutes. Today's presenter is the wonderful David Derricott, and I'll tell you more about him in a moment. Tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern, we have a weekly market recap with Vince Vora, so don't miss that. That's not on GoToWebinar. You just have to come right back here to YouTube, and you can participate in that. Vince Vora is a great presenter. We always enjoy our time with him. Then on Saturday is our monthly MetaStock Trader Summit, and that is awesome. That will be 8 hours, a marathon event from 10 a.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to enroll in that right now, you can just go to metastock.com. Actually go to metastock.com/traders-summit. I'll put that in the link here on YouTube in just a minute. metastock.com/traders-summit. If you want to just come here and watch that on YouTube, you can do that as well. But if you enroll at GoToWebinar, then the thing that gives you is you'll be able to participate in the free stuff that a lot of the presenters are giving people who just register. So don't miss that. MetaStock Trader Summit, metastock.com/traders-summit. Register now. And finally, I wanted to let you know we have an ongoing spring event, our MetaStock annual spring event, where just about everything we sell is on sale. Just about everything we sell is on sale. If you want to go check that out, go to our homepage at metastock.com. There's a cloudy, wispy scene up on the top of the page, and you can click on that and find out more about all of our products, especially our add-ons, and watch videos to find out more about these add-ons. And then if you want to purchase them, you can purchase them from there too. So we got about 2 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that Dave is good to go on the other end. Hey, I do see that we have Kasim. Excuse me if I'm not saying that right, Kasim. We have Fouad. I'm sorry, sir, if I'm not saying your name right. And we have Scott. Always welcome, superfan Scott Gow. Thanks for coming, you guys. And hey, while we're on the subject, go ahead and make sure to like and subscribe and click on the little bell to be notified of future events here on YouTube. That would be awesome. And don't forget, we are taking chat both on YouTube and GoToWebinar. So if you have any questions for Dave today, just chat them. And Jeff Gibby says, what did the drummer call his twin daughters? I give up, Jeff. What did the drummer call his twin daughters? It's dad joke time. We do that before every presentation. So I'm waiting for an answer. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Kasim. I feel like that's right. Okay, well, I got to get back over to David real quick to make sure he's good to go, and we'll be starting here in about 1 minute. Thanks again for dropping by, and I know you'll have a great time. Don't forget to chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you back here in just a second. Okay, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Dave, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, Greg.
All right. Hey, thanks so much for joining our live event today. I've got to take one ear off my headset because I can hear my own voice in my head and it drives me nuts. I will get out of your way in just a second because today's presenter is our very own Dave Derricott. Dave, what shall I tell the folks about you? Wait, don't say anything yet. Dave's been here for at least 15 years because he got here a few months before I did. And he's been
16.
one of our leading sales professionals ever since then. He's always at the top of the charts on our sales figures. So Dave is awesome in that regard, and the reason he's so successful is because he's a genuine, knowledgeable, helpful, sincere, kind, loyal, all those Boy Scout things, and he does a great job here at MetaStock. He's also a family guy. He's somebody we all like and just want to hug every day. Anything out there? Miss anything, Dave?
No, other than it's Abigail's birthday today.
Oh, and it's his daughter's birthday today. That's awesome. Well, Dave, unless you think there's anything else I need to say, I'll get out of the way and let you...
Nope, you already embarrassed me enough, Greg.
Okay. Well, break a leg.
All right, sounds good. I do want to tell everybody how excited I am to show you the add-ons that I'm going to show you today, and definitely appreciate you guys taking an hour out of your busy lives to to be with us today. And I need to actually grab the agreement. So this isn't the one that I wanted to show. I need to actually show a different one. So if you guys just want to hold on for me for just a second, I have to show that one as per legal disclaimers.
Dave, I think
so just give me just a minute. That's the right one. I know this is the boring part, but we'll move on very quickly. I thought I already had it up, but I guess I didn't.
Dave, the one you had was right.
No, that's the options one.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the options one. That's not the right one. So I'm just going to load it up on a different PowerPoint that I had. So
you know what? I can show it to people right now. Oh, but they
if you could, that would be awesome. No, I got it. I got it right here. I'm good.
All right.
So, all right. Thanks everybody for your patience. So this demonstration today is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and accompanying software plugins, and it's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using these specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. The last part is just basically the same exact thing, except for we have to mention that it's a CFTC Rule 4.41. It has to do with the options and trading options and the risks inherited with options. So that's our lovely disclaimer. I'll go ahead and just close out of that and move back over to my other one. So as the webinar states, today I'm going to show you, and do the best job I possibly can. I'm going to show you two of our most popular add-ons. It's made by the same company. One's called MQTrender Pro. It's actually the 2.0 version, is the version that we were able to acquire from them. And then they also have another one called Value Charts. So this company is actually really cool. I'm going to skip past this because we don't need to go through that again. So here's just kind of the box look. We don't obviously ship out add-ons or any programs or anything like that anymore, but we still always like to create the little boxes as well, or for everybody so you can see. Anyway, so this company was actually created by a person, his name's Thomas Wood, and it's called MicroQuant. They actually do more kind of trading versus helping people how to trade, and instead of so they're not like main traders, they actually are training people how to trade because they've been so successful at it. So kind of a little bit of background, like I said, they have a class called MicroQuant Basecamp, and they used both value charts and also MQTrender to teach people how to trade the way they do. This is a patented technology that they created, I think it was about 20 years ago, is when they created it. But the main person that created the company's name is Thomas Wood. And just a little bit of background, he's been a professional trader for, like I state here on the PowerPoint, about 15 years. But basically, he's been trading both as kind of a retail and also professionally. But right now, he's a hedge fund manager and manages his own hedge fund. And he started that back when he was 26. I mean, that's pretty awesome. But anyway, he's been one of the partners at this Basecamp trading with MicroQuant for quite some time. And these two add-ons that we actually sell now at MetaStock are kind of their world-renowned different types of price action strategies and things like that. And he's has had a really big hand in helping us create these, so we could offer these also to our MetaStock customers. But basically, kind of a little more of a background story there is he actually helped quite a few hedge funds kind of turn their profits from being in the negative to positive. So with these two different systems, there was a hedge fund that was losing, I think it was close to like $60,000 on a monthly basis. And so with this technology and this type of trading style that Thomas Wood created, they turned that to be in the positive of $30,000. So each month they basically reversed it about half. So they were losing $60,000 on a monthly basis with this hedge fund, and then he helped them kind of teach them how to use different trading tools and things like that, and they started turning a profit to be $30,000 in the positive on a monthly basis, and obviously they've been successful ever since then. So this is definitely something that anybody can use. It's very simple, easy to understand and follow, and obviously I'll get into kind of the big details here in just a minute. But so let's start off with value charts. So value charts, let me just hop over to MetaStock before I even start into this. I just want to show a clear picture of what value charts looks like before I start into explaining everything. So I have a blank chart open. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just right click on the chart, and I'm going to choose apply template. And then I'm going to come down the list here to where it shows MQ value charts right here. I'm going to go ahead and just double click on that. I don't want to save the changes to IBM, and it'll just automatically apply the template to my current chart that I have open. So then from there, I'm going to wait until everything gets applied. This takes it a second because I actually loaded max data, so it does actually take it a minute for everything to load. So what we're going to focus on right now, so ignore the chart and ignore the MQ trend, the MQ momentum for now. What we're going to focus on is this. So value charts, kind of think of it like when you go to sell your car or when you go to buy your car. You want to look for cars that are, matching up to the Kelly Blue Book value. So and then reverse that into, take that into stock trading. You're looking for stocks that are either significantly overvalued or significantly undervalued, because that really helps you identify those peaks and troughs in the market. And so what they've done is they've created a program to basically kind of match up with like buying a pre-owned car. Obviously new cars are going to be different. So that kind of think of it that way. So you're not going to go in and just guess the value of the stock or guess the value of the car when you go into the dealership. You're going to kind of pull the numbers first through kellybluebook.com, and then you'll go in and decide what you want to offer the dealership or what the dealership is going to offer you. So we definitely have, they have created like a really good guide for us to really kind of match up with being like a used car. So you just kind of have to think that that methodology. And the nice thing too is I always like to tell everybody this. It doesn't matter if you're trading stocks, options, futures, forex, indexes, whatever it is you trade. This program and this add-on will work good for any market. It doesn't matter if you're trading only in the US or if you trade Canadian markets or you trade international markets. It's all going to be very helpful as far as that goes. So now we can know kind of the current value. So the way things work is you're going to be able to know that you're going to take the trade at the right time. So you're not taking it when, as an example, when the stock is here in the mid-range. If I bought right here, I probably wouldn't have made very much money. Or if I sold right here, it would obviously tank on me, and then I'd go in the opposite direction. So you're not second guessing anything, which is really nice. So going into the MicroQuant's value charts, it's like I said, it's patent. It's not pending anymore. It's actually a patent technology now. But as I already mentioned, I don't necessarily need to show this because I already mentioned that he helped the hedge funds go from negative $60,000 on a monthly basis to turning a profit of $30,000. So this is the slide that I actually wanted to get to. So what you're looking at is the value of the particular symbol, be it Forex, be it a stock. In this case, we'll just kind of give you some stock examples. So when you see a stock is significantly undervalued, that's when you would put in a buy or a long position. When you see a stock is significantly overvalued, then that's when you would do a short sell. And then you also have the overvalued, which is this yellow area, or undervalued right here, where you have another yellow area. And then the green is just the fair value. So the green is kind of your neutral area. So hopping back over to MetaStock in this particular example. So this is when you have the stocks that are or this particular symbol is overvalued. And down here on the red is undervalued. And then this is just sorry, I meant to say significantly under and overvalued, and this is just undervalued and then overvalued as well. So this is kind of your main leading indicator with value charts, and that's really what you're paying attention to in the beginning, because then that way you're going to know what side of the trade you're going to be on, if you're going to do a bullish or if you're going to do a bearish trade. Long or short, obviously, in simple terms. And then as you notice up here on the chart itself, where it has like VC sell, and let's actually grab our horizontal line here. So the VC sell right here, and then it just kind of matches up with the chart. But in this particular case, that probably wouldn't have been a great signal, as you saw, it just reversed on you. But if you look at it on the chart itself, it didn't actually match up with it being significantly undervalued. It was only just undervalued, just barely. And it's not necessarily a good trade to take. So you kind of get the idea, where basically we're looking for stocks that are either under, significantly under or overvalued. For example, in this area right here. Let's expand this back out. So this would be significantly undervalued, and this is just undervalued, and this is significantly over, and then overvalued. So it's just kind of like going back to the whole car example of buying a used car. You want to look for those stocks that are either significantly under and overvalued, and then that's when you would actually get into your trade. And most of the time it will actually put a buy or sell signal on the chart itself, as you see here. But you know, this is kind of a bad example. I just grabbed IBM just as an example, so I could show everybody kind of how it works. And it's it also, just so you, one last thing that I didn't explain is when you see these stocks that are over and undervalued, you'll see that it paints these little I guess you'd call them like dark, I'd probably say that's a dark green, dark yellow dots on the chart, and all that means is that it's under and overvalued. Now when you see the red on here, that means that it's significantly under and overvalued. So this would be significantly undervalued. You kind of get the idea, and this is significantly overvalued. So, and that's kind of how everything works as far as the value charts go. But what's really nice with the value charts is we're going to come over here and run some scans for everybody so we can kind of see how well this works. So let's go in and we'll go in here. Let me kind of back up for people that don't use MetaStock. So click on here on the P, which is our power console. It's your main user interface. And then we'll go over here to Explore. And then we'll scroll down until we get to the MQ value charts. I've got every add-on installed, so it takes just a second to get to my list. Okay, so right here you've got your extended overvalued, your extended undervalued, which is your significant under and overvalued, and then you've got your value charts buy, and then your value charts sell. So let's just look for significantly undervalued for right now, and I'll run some other ones with the significantly over and then extended over and under. But let's just run one at a time. I can run all of them at the same time if I wanted to, but we've got a little bit of time, so let's go ahead and just run the ones that we want for right now. So we'll scroll down, and then I've actually downloaded my data onto my computer, so I'm just going to run the S&P 500. I may not get any results, just as an FYI, but let's run some and see if we can find anything that we'd like to take a look at and possibly trade. So we'll go ahead and just click on Start Exploration. So this is quite nice, and kind of let me explain this for everyone, for people that may not be using MetaStock currently. What's nice is instead of me having to scroll through 505 charts at a time, I'm taking the conditions of the value charts and I'm running a scan. And as you notice here, I've got 98% of them that were rejected. So I'm not having to scroll through all of those 505 stocks that are listed on the S&P. I'm only having to look at 9 that actually met that criteria. And so this one is giving us a undervalued, which means that we would put in a buy position depending on how it looks. So let's go ahead and just open up this first one in the list. I'm going to leave the exploration results window open so everyone can kind of see how I'm working off this, and I'll just minimize this. And let's go ahead and just close these other charts. Okay, so this is the one that we pulled up. So let's go ahead and just apply the template again. Just right click again, apply template. And I can do this from the Power Console, but I like to show everybody a few ways of doing it. So then we just scroll down to the M's until we find MQ value charts. Double click, no. I keep forgetting to take it off. So this one is significantly right now undervalued right here. So this would be a good opportunity to keep a watch on this one if it does go into basically undervalued and then fair value, because that would be a good idea to get into the trade. For example, right here, we had this last one, this chart, or sorry, this bar right here had a neutral to bullish pressure. So it's definitely a good idea right here to get into the trade. That would have been a really good run as far as this particular symbol. So kind of giving you different examples there. And then the one last thing that I like to explain is this MQ momentum indicator. So call this basically a super MACD. So it still identifies those overbought, oversold conditions. It works just like a MACD, but what's really nice is you've got this extra histogram, which all this does is match up to your bullish down here and your bearish down here ribbon. So it just really just gives you that additional confirmation. So in this scenario right here, we're undervalued right here. We're in a bearish position, but once it switches to a bullish trend, then that would be a good idea to get into this particular trade. And as you can see here on the chart, it was actually a pretty decent trade. And then you would have bought probably around here, and then you would have sold off on the trade around right there. So as you can see, it's pretty accurate as far as trading, and also helping you get in and out of the trades. The one last thing that I like to explain as well is inside of MetaStock, we have what we call this commentary window. You've probably noticed on the left side here that I've got this kind of detailed trade setup. So when you have a signal, let's call it right here, I've got this neutral bullish pressure. So this could potentially be another long trade because it is significantly overvalued, but I'm still in a bearish zone. So once this maybe flips to a bullish zone, then that would be a good idea to get into the trade. But if I scroll down here on this left side, it tells you exactly what type of trade you should be in, the trading pressure, neutral to bullish, and then it just kind of goes into detail. Now I'll just read this out for everybody. When a market's value relative to itself gets significantly undervalued, it increases the likelihood we may see a slowed descent and perhaps even a reversal higher. So, and this is definitely something that you're going to see in the market. You're always going to see like corrections and consolidations and different things like that. But then it also goes, if we scroll down a little bit farther here, it goes into the actual bar itself. You know, at the bar close, it's significantly undervalued, which would be a good opportunity to be into the trade on a long position. And then it just goes into like more detail, you know, where the buying considerations are, the selling, the hold, and everything like that. So it is just kind of like a fully integrated system into MetaStock with this add-on, which is actually really, really nice. Excuse me. So that's that's the value charts kind of as a whole. I know we only have we only have an hour, so I'm going to flip over to the other one that I quite like. Actually, I like both of them a lot. I use both of them with my trading. The other one is called the MQ Trender Pro, as I mentioned. So this one is actually pretty cool because it identifies different colors on the charts to tell you if you should be neutral, if you should be bearish, if you should be bullish. And what's really nice with this one is when a stock or a whatever you're looking at, you know, be it Forex or an option or a future or whatever, when they're strongly bullish or strongly bearish, it's very similar to the under and overvalued. But what's really nice with this one is when a stock switches from a neutral or a strongly neutral to a neutral bearish or a neutral bullish, then that's a good indication to either put in a buy or a sell. So you have different colors that are identifying different types of trends in the market. So let's go ahead and just close this, and I'm going to come back over to this particular symbol. Actually, let me open up one that I like to look at here. Let's just open the US ETF oil fund. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to go down until we find the MQ. The MQ Trender Pro does have actually different types of backgrounds and charts that they've set up. I'm just going to use the daily chart. So we'll just do this MQP2 black, and then we'll click on Open Chart. Okay, so as I was saying, you have these neutral areas. So this is a strong neutral area. But then once you switch from like this strong neutral to a neutral bullish, in this particular area, this one didn't even go to a neutral bullish. It just went straight to a strong bullish. So this would have been your entry right here on USO, which is, like I said, it's the United States Oil ETF fund. And then kind of the same thing, you've got your commentary window that is completely kind of goes through and explains the entire trade process. So if I came back over here, we've just went from a neutral to a strong bullish, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking through the neutral to neutral bullish and strong bullish. In this particular case, it didn't even go to neutral bullish, it just went straight to a strong bullish. And that's what I always look for on the charts. You want to look for those bright green and bright red colors on the chart, because that identifies if it's going to be a very strong trade for you to get in or if it's going to be a weak trade. Sometimes if it's just in this neutral area, maybe keep it on your watch list. But if it does switch from a neutral to that strong bullish, or even if it's just a neutral bullish, that would be a good indicator to get into the trade. So, and then as I was kind of talking about, there's different colors that are put on the chart, and you've got these little gray areas. So that last slide that I just popped up, those are your extended bullish or extended bearish. So in this particular scenario, you could actually put in a limit order or a stop if you'd like, and then decide whether to get out of that trade. But in this particular scenario, you had your extended bullish trade, and then it dove down a little bit, and then you got your trailing stop right here, this little yellow bar. And the only time that I would end up getting out of this particular trade is if the next bar, or in this case candle, came up and it was lower than the previous candle's low, then I would get out of the trade. So in this particular scenario, I would have actually gotten out of the trade and stayed out for a little bit. Yeah, I may have lost a little bit of money right here, but that's okay, because then not immediately, but a few weeks later, I would have gotten back into that trade as well. So, and then here's actually a really good example of when I would stay in the trade. So I got my buy signal right here. And then I had a trailing stop indicator right here. Now, if this next candle had gone below this current candle's low, I would have gotten out of the trade. But in this particular case, it didn't. It went above the previous candle's high. So I would have stayed in that trade. And I only would have stayed in a little bit longer, and then I probably would have gotten out. Or, if you're kind of more of a buy and hold person, you could have definitely stayed in. If you prefer more kind of longer term investing, then that definitely would work well for you too. So now that I've gone through and kind of explained everything as far as this goes, I don't need to go and talk about this because I've already kind of talked about it. Let's go in and run some examples now that I've kind of gone through the explanation. So we'll go over to our Power Console. I'm going to go ahead, let me close all of the charts so they're not giving us any noise in the background. So just click on all. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Explore, and we're going to do the S&P 500 again. But we're going to actually change this from significantly under and overvalued. So we're going to do extended overvalued, undervalued, and then we're going to grab this MQ trender, which is going to be a sell. Okay, so MQ trender 2 is going to be a new long entry, and then we'll also do a new short entry. So I can run all these at the same time, or not at the same time. Well, I'll run them one after another, and then we can go in and view all the results each one individually. The MQ Trender does have a lot of different indicators that it uses in the background, so that one will take a little bit more time. And I haven't previously ran that one today, so it will take just a tiny bit. But
hey, Dave.
we'll start. Yeah.
I'm sorry, is this a good time to interrupt you? I forgot to ask you beforehand if you wanted me to monitor questions in YouTube, and you do have a few questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rowdy asks if you have any thoughts on, what is the symbol? $VISL. I don't know what that is.
VISL?
Yeah.
Hang on.
He says he's in a swing position now.
Let me look.
And I realize you're doing a check right now, but it may not be the best time. And also, Kasim wants to know what time frame works best.
With the value charts, I actually use daily, and then I also use 30 minutes. Those are the ones that seem to work best. But I don't day trade, as you know, Greg, but I do have a lot of people that day trade with it, and they'll go as low as 5 minutes on this one. Sometimes it starts to become a little choppy, and so you probably want to stick to anywhere, if you're day trading it, then anywhere between 15 and 30 minutes is what I would recommend. I usually trade off of a daily chart, though. So VISL, I can actually open this up while it's running. So let's apply this to...
And Dave, I'll just stay...
Go ahead.
I'll stay out of your hair. If you want to take questions, just ask me and I'll let you know if you have
Yeah,
any.
go ahead and just shoot me questions as they come in.
Okay.
Cool. So this is Visalink, it looks like, Technologies. And I forgot to not load max data, so it does take a little bit more time. But this is actually a really good one. Right now, it's just barely gone to a neutral bullish. So good idea to get into the trade. We did get an entry signal right here. Let's go ahead and just click on that particular candlestick while my scan is running. Let me just see if it's done yet. Yeah, it's still running in the background. Okay. And I think I might have crashed MetaStock. Yep, I did. That's what I was afraid of. No, it's okay. It's because I'm running like 4 different scans at the same time, and they have a lot of criteria that they're running, and I was afraid that it might crash it, but it's okay.
Well, do you want to hear do you want to hear a dad's joke while you're waiting for it to reboot?
I guess.
This is care of Jeff Gibby. What did the drummer name his twin daughters?
I don't know. I'm so stupid when it comes to dad jokes.
And a 1, and a 2.
Oh my gosh. And a 3, and a 4. Well.
Okay. Also, Kasim asks, I guess as a follow-up to his question about what time frame works best, he says, is MQ Trend Pro as well? I'm not sure what he means by that.
So yeah, so that's both the value charts and also the MQ Trender Pro. I would use if you're day trading it, I would use a 15 minutes up to a 30-minute chart. I mean, you could do like a 12 or 10 or whatever you want to do. But I typically don't trade that quickly. If you're a really aggressive trader, then you probably want to be on like a 5-minute level versus like the 15 or 30. The only time I ever look at like the shorter term time frames is when I want to see kind of a closer look of the trend. You know, I always use daily just because I can see a really good look of the overall trend that's been happening over the last week or months or whatever you want to look at. But when you look at those shorter time frames, then you can kind of see like how reactive that particular stock has been. So that's what I would recommend, you know, anywhere from like a 15.
Looks like you got MetaStock back, so I will once again get out of your hair.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so let's actually do this. I'm going to shorten the scans. I'm just going to do the value charts right now so I can go back and open up that chart that one of you guys asked about. So we're going to do overvalued and undervalued. And before I actually even do that, I'm going to open up that stock. Greg, do you remember the symbol? Was it VISL? Yeah, it was VISL.
Yes, VISL.
Yep. Okay.
Put a $sign in front of it. I don't know.
But yeah, that's part of the symbology that that particular program is using. Whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Thanks. So let's go and open that, and then I will run the exploration. Okay. So do explore. Run this one. We'll do value charts, extended overvalued and extremely overvalued and extremely undervalued. And then we're going to use the S&P 500 again. and then we'll just start the exploration. So in this particular, and I hope I don't crash the program again, in this particular area with MetaStock and the MQ Trender Pro, it actually shows that we would have moved from a neutral area into a neutral bullish. So we also got a buy signal as soon as they switched. Position, the chart switched from a bearish to a bullish. So if I come over here and look kind of down towards using our MQ momentum, we can see that I'm in a bullish area, but I'm still in like this bearish mode. So I'm not necessarily 100% sure if I should take that trade or not. So if you want to lean more on like the trend and the price versus just the actual coloring of the bars, or sorry, candlesticks, then you can definitely kind of pay more attention to that. But yeah, right now it's kind of in a swing position. So if you're not, I'm not entirely sure that I would get into this until it switches from a neutral bullish into a strong bullish. And that's really what you look for. As another example right here, we went from a neutral to a neutral bullish. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, about 7 candlesticks later, move from a neutral bullish to a strong bullish. And that's when I would get into the trade. You know, it really just kind of depends. And these tools are here to help you trade through the market. You know, today's market has been extremely volatile. You know, you're up one day, down another. You're up $500 one day, you're down 1,000 the next day. So it just really kind of depends on your way of trading. I hate risk, and so whenever I am not 100% sure of getting into the trade or not, I'm not going to. So if this were me, and I'm, again, this is no reason, or this is no, in any reason, this is not me giving you advice on how to trade. So if this were me though, and I got this signal, even because I'm in a neutral bear or neutral bullish, I would not get into this trade. I would wait until it switches from a neutral bullish to a strong bullish. And that's when I've made the most money out of my trades, because as you can tell right here, you know, it went from a neutral to a neutral bullish, and then it kind of stayed a little bit, you know, it was kind of creeping up a little bit, and then it went to a strong bullish, and that's when it kind of took off. So great example right there. You know, everyone's been talking about these meme stocks, which I can't stand. And I want to give a good example of, as an example, GameStop. So let's go in and just type in GameStop. You know, it's just caught the world by a lot of attention. So let's just see how well this matches up with GameStop. So everyone tried to get in around that $50 range. You know, I mean, it's a stock that's really an anomaly. You know, you just can't even predict like where it's going. But using MetaStock and using the tools with MQ Trender and value charts, you can see right here. And actually, what I'm going to do before I even move on, in just a second. Okay, so this is done. I'm gonna come back to it in just a minute. Okay, so I want to open up the same symbol, but I'm gonna open up value charts and I'm gonna open up MQ Trender. So I've got MQ Trender up. Let's go ahead and just right click on the chart. I just gotta wait till it loads. We'll right click on the chart and we're gonna choose apply template again. We're gonna come down here to the M's and find MQ value charts. Double click on that, I'm not gonna save. Okay, so now I can actually match this up side by side. Okay, so we'll just click on that view so we can match both of them together. So back when GameStop took off, the MQ Trender kind of made you stay on like an extended neutral basis. You know, it wasn't necessarily the best time to be trading, although some people did get in and you could have made quite a bit of money. You know, but is it really going to give you the confidence that you could have made money? Probably not. I would not have gotten into this trade. And I do know a lot of people that have traded through GameStop based on the whole Reddit post. Not something that I would actually recommend, but each of us have our own way of trading. So let's match this up together. So now once GameStop kind of came back down and went into kind of a little neutral area, then it kind of started to make sense. So as we look at the MQ Trender chart, I'm going to maximize this so everybody can look at it a little better. You know, GameStop shot back down, which is what everybody sort of thought that's what was going to happen. And then it went into like this neutral bearish and kind of just fell back, you know, took a back seat. And then it went into just a neutral position. We had a sell exit off of the sell entry, and then it just kind of went flat for a little bit. Then it switched from a neutral to a neutral bullish. And that's kind of when I would start paying attention to it. This area is just so risky, and if you got in on it, great. If not, that's okay too, because there's going to be more opportunities. It doesn't really matter what you trade and how you're trading, but there's always going to be more opportunities. This is what I've learned doing this for 16 years. So we moved some from neutral into a neutral bearish. And I had mentioned before that I don't necessarily like getting into these trades because, as you know, as you can see right here, here's your buy signal, and the very next candlestick kind of fell below the previous candlestick's low. So I wouldn't have gotten into that trade at that point. I always wait until it moves from a neutral bearish or bullish into a strong bearish or bullish. So in this particular case, we've moved from a neutral bullish into a strong bullish, and that's when I would get into the trade. And you can tell that, you know, it was a pretty good run right here. You went up and then you kind of came down a little bit. And GameStop is definitely one of those stocks that's an anomaly. I mean, really, let's just call it what it is. It's not like any other stock or any other company that I've ever traded. I've never seen anything like it for as long as I've been trading. And I know that there's so many people out there that have been trading so much longer than me. So obviously, you probably will know how the markets work a little bit more than me. But in this particular scenario, so we got a good signal right here. And this was back in March of this year. So that would have actually been a good idea to get into this particular trade. Now let's go back over to value charts and check that out. Okay, so down here, same scenario. You know, it shot up. This one actually, what's nice with this, and see, this is why I like to use both of them together, because right here we actually had a neutral bearish position, or neutral bearish pressure, neutral bearish to bullish pressure. So that would have actually been an indication to get in. This is significantly overvalued right here. And then it just kind of continues to be significantly overvalued. But again, this area was not an area that they recommend to buy or sell. However, once it got to a significant overvalued and it gave you some neutral to bearish pressure, this would have been a good idea right here. And you got that sell signal to short sell. So that would have been a very good idea to trade through. So they both help out with different areas in the market, as you can kind of see. It's not like you have one that's completely different, the other one's that's completely different. They help you match up everything. You know, maybe one will give you a buy signal early and the other one will give you an exit later, because it helps you capitalize on those profits. Again, right here you had a neutral bearish pressure. You were significantly overvalued, so you could have gotten in on a buy position right here, and that would have helped you gain some momentum and some money right here. And these two add-ons are both built off and go off momentum type indicators. You know, you're using the MACD, which is a momentum indicator. Well, they call it a super MACD. They've got a lot of different other indicators that go into it, is what they call it. And because the technology is patented, we obviously don't have access to the code or anything or how everything's calculated, but it's all based on momentum. So this is a good example on how both of them would help you trade trading with GameStop. You know, and if you're a futures trader, let's go ahead and just close out of these charts. Oh, wait, nope, I don't want to do that. So we'll go ahead and just close all. We'll say no. And I know a lot of traders out there like to trade the E-mini S&P 500. I'm just kind of giving a good example of this one. I'm not going to load max data again. Okay, we'll just do that one. So let's load up the MQ Trender first. I've got to have one of the charts open first before I can actually load the other chart. So this one, I'm loading the MQ Trender Pro, and then I'm going to actually open it up on a different time frame. So then we're going to do window, new window. So now I've got the exact same chart, but now I'm going to right click and apply the value charts to this chart. So we'll do apply template, come down to the M's, we'll do value charts, click no. Okay, so now I've got both of them on the chart. So let's take a peek at this. So we've got, for a futures trader, this particular symbol is one that has the most activity for anybody that does trade futures. So instead of me being on a daily chart, let's actually change both of these over. I'm going to change value charts to a 15-minute, and I'm going to put MQ Trender on a 10-minute. Okay, we'll go over and just click on the D, and then we're going to click on 15. Okay. Let me zoom in a little bit so everyone can see. All right, so right now, oops. So this actually matches up quite well because we've got a significantly undervalued, which is right here. It's in a bullish area. Shows you right here in the bullish area. And then you've also got a dot here on the chart with value charts showing it significantly undervalued, which would be a good idea to get in on a long position. Flipping over to MQ Trender, right here we're neutral for a little bit, but then we got a buy signal on the S&P 500 or on the S&P E-mini to get into on a long position. And see, and then you can just kind of match both of them up together. It's significantly undervalued, and it's undervalued, 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 and it just kind of continues on right like this. Okay, well, there's my buy signal. So then we come over to MQ Trender and see if we've gotten the same thing. Yeah, we got a buy signal, and it just continues on as the trend goes up, and then it dips down a little bit. And then here's kind of what I was talking about, where I would get out of the trade if that next candlestick falls below the previous candlestick's low. So once that happens, I would get out of the trade. In this particular case, I wouldn't, because you have a trailing stop, and then the candlestick actually, the following candlestick went above the previous candlestick's high, and so I would have stayed in the trade. Another good scenario is once you were in the trade, you have another trailing stop, and as long as it went above the previous bar's high, I would stay in. I mean, this would have been a case that you could kind of go either way. You could stay in for a little bit longer, or you could get out of the trade. And so in this case, this candlestick's high was 42.40, and this candlestick's high was 42.39. So this is really your decision. Me personally, once I get a signal that's telling me to get out of the trade, I'm out of the trade. I would have gotten out of that trade. Every trader is going to be different if you want to be more aggressive or if you want to be more conservative. And I'm definitely on the more conservative side, so I definitely would have gotten out of that trade. So I just like to give different examples of both of these different systems because they work well with any market. So I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar that it works well with stocks, options, futures, and Forex. I don't know if we have any Forex traders here, but let's go ahead and just open up one of the Forex pairs and apply that to the MQ Trender. Okay, so we're on a daily chart right now. Let's go ahead and flip over to, a lot of Forex traders like to do these short time frames, like a 5-minute. And the Forex market is definitely pretty volatile compared to other markets. So I mean, it's definitely going to work well with the short term and also the long term. Me particularly, I like to use it on daily charts versus the 5-minute. See right here, we're just in like a consolidation area. I mean, you've gotten some long entries, but you immediately got out. However, Forex traders, that's how they trade. So if you really wanted to trade aggressively in the Forex market, you can see right here, you've gotten your buy signal. It shot up, went back down, got out. But the Forex market is one of those markets that is very whipsaw. So to everyone's discretion if you want to trade that or not. However, let's go back over and do an ETF. So let's do the, a lot of people like to use the SPY as far as their trading goes. So let's move over and do that one. Okay, so instead of us being on a 5-minute, let's move over to an hourly chart. So this is actually a really good example. So we had a gap up here. let's see when this was. So this was on the 4th at 10 o'clock on the open. So it had a gap up. We moved from a neutral to a neutral bullish, and then the very next candlestick was a neutral or a strong bullish. So we would have actually gotten in on that particular trade. And then you just kind of, like it shows here on the chart, you're going to get these different signals for a trailing stop, and you make the decision if you want to get out of the trade and then re-enter back in. So in this particular case, you could have gotten out of this trade right here, or you could have stayed in and kind of lost a little bit of money, but then gained some momentum as well. So now let's look at value charts. I'm not going to open both of them at the same time because we're kind of running out of time here. So there we go. And these two systems are good if you're a pattern trader, if you're long-term investing, or if you're a swing trader, if you're day trading, whatever it is that you want to look at. So here's value charts. So we got going back to where we were with the MQ Trender. They actually both gave you the same signal, kind of right in this area. So this is where it was significantly undervalued. You got a neutral bullish pressure to get in, and then it got you in the trade, and then you would have just stayed completely undervalued, and then this right here is significantly overvalued, which is where our trailing stop came in on our other system on the MQ Trender. So you could have confirmed that, okay, do I want to get out of the trade or should I stay in for a little bit longer? Well, the next bar, or in my case candlestick is what I like to use more, fell below the previous candlestick's high or previous candlestick's low, so I would have gotten out. However, if you're following this system to a T, you would have stayed into that trade because it would have came under. It's still undervalued, and right here it's extremely overvalued, but it's still undervalued right here. So it just continues on until about right there is when you would have gotten out. And then as you can see, both of the programs are very accurate. They both are going to give you some good indication when you should be getting in and out of your trades. You can scan the market to find the particular stocks that you want to trade, or if you're not necessarily wanting to find new stocks to trade and you want to just apply this to your portfolio, you can do the same thing. So we can come back over here, and I ran, like I mentioned before, kind of got on a sidetrack with the other stocks or the other symbols I was looking at. So we did a scan on value charts with extremely over and undervalued. So since I'm going more on the long side, I'm going to look at ones that are undervalued or extremely undervalued. We looked at Brown, so I showed you that one. Let's go to UPS. And no, let's actually do Dish Network. That's a good one to look at. And that's what really helps you a lot. It just eliminates the time that you have to sit here and say, okay, well, what stock should I trade? There's been a lot of buzz with the meme stocks. Well, how do you really know if that's going to make you much money? I mean, you saw with GameStop, as I gave you that example, you're not going to necessarily go into that particular trade, grabbing the bull by the horns, because that stock is really kind of an anomaly, and everybody knows that, and it just doesn't have the company dynamics to hold on to that price. Whereas if you're more of a conservative trader like I am, I really will kind of look for those overall momentum and those trends. And this is a perfect example of when I would get into these trades. So, and it just really, again, kind of depends on how aggressive you want to be. Some people that are using these particular systems will get in as soon as it switches from a neutral to a neutral bullish. In this particular scenario, you could have gotten in there, and that would have made you some good money right here. And then as you continue on, if you're going to get your different trailing stop indicators that are going to appear on the chart as well, which is really why I like both of these together. Not necessarily, you don't got a ton of these different indicators that are built on the chart. All you're really doing is paying attention to the different colors and the trends on the chart. With MQ Trender, you're looking at those different moves to go from a neutral to a neutral bullish, or a strong bullish, or a neutral bearish to a strong bearish in this particular case right here. But this would have been a great example because you would have gotten in right here. Let's kind of just walk through the trade. Okay, I've got my signal right here. I'm in a strong bullish position, so I'm going to get in that trade. And then they give you the indication, okay, here's a trailing stop. What are you going to do? So in this particular case, this is, again, I'm not teaching you how to trade, or I'm not giving you recommendations. But if this were me trading, I would have seen this trailing stop indicator come on. Okay, as long as the next candlestick goes below this candlestick's low, I would get out of the trade. So the low of this one was 44.30, or sorry, 44.31. So the next candlestick low was 44.40. I would not have gotten out of that trade. It was right there on the cusp, but I wouldn't have gotten out. And I still continue to make money. It kind of went a little sideways. So obviously nothing is perfect, but this is as close as I can possibly get. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is maximize those profits. As long as you're making more money than you're losing, it's obviously going to be a good trade-off. And then if you want to double check it and go over to the MQ value charts, just to double check everything. So this particular bar, let's see. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm going back and looking at the right one. Okay, so it was this one, and this is actually a perfect setup. You've got the VC buy, value charts buy signal. You're in a bullish area. You've got it significantly undervalued, and so that would have been a good indication to get into the trade. And as you can see, as I showed you with the MQ trender, they both match up almost perfectly. So I mean, using them both together is a very good tool to help you be more successful in the market, know exactly where to get in, what stocks to be trading, or if you're trading futures or forex or indexes, or I should say future indexes as well. So it works with any market. Works with this is a intraday chart and then also a daily chart, so you definitely can match both of them up together. So we're kind of running out a little bit of time. I know I'm going a little bit overboard, but the one thing that you do get with the MQ trender, I didn't kind of go through this, but we've actually set up different templates. So the one that I've been using is this MTP2 black, and all that is a daily chart black. But we also created one with a white background, and then also a weekly, daily, monthly, and then a weekly, daily, monthly for black and white and black. So you have all those already pre-programmed. You can go in and edit these if you want, and I actually did that. I don't use bar charting a lot. I always change everything to candlesticks. So if you want to change it to candlesticks and resave it, you just double click on the bars, come to this drop down, choose candles, and then click OK, and it'll change it to candles, and then you can resave it that way if you'd like. And there's the other thing too that I've done is you can go in and actually create your own template, one that'll have MQ trender and one that'll have value charts. So you can just open one symbol at the same time. It'll open both of them at the same time with using both add-ons. So that's something that's pretty powerful too. Let me go back and restart my PowerPoint here. So, and then as I mentioned in the value charts add-on, you're getting the value charts indicators, the momentum indicators, and then you've got the 6 explorations. You've got the significantly over undervalued, the extended over and undervalued, and then the over and undervalued explorations as well. So each one of these normally costs $1,500 a piece, but we were selling them last month for $9.95 each. However, for anybody that attends the webinar today, you actually can get both of them for $1,300. Now, if you have one and want to get the other one, you'll definitely want to just give me a call, because I'll be able to work out a little special deal for you to see if you wanted to get the other one. Like if you bought value charts some months ago and want to get the MQ trender, then give me a ring and I'll be able to go over what I can do for you. So here's all my contact information. For anybody that's in the US and Canada, you dial that 800 number. Anybody that's international, you dial that +1 801 1007. My email is david.derricott@metastock.com, or you can come to our sales chat, just metastock.com/sales chat. You have to make sure you ask for me, or else you won't get the offer. But you can also get more information on MetaStock as well at metastock.com/Dave Derricott. But that's all I've got for everybody. I really do appreciate your time. Greg, are there any other questions that I can answer?
There are comments. By the way, great presentation, Dave. I enjoyed that. Ari says, lower your prices for the downtrodden. I like your stuff. So to that, I guess we'd say, hey, look at the offer I just gave you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Scott
definitely.
Gao says, Dave, thanks for some of your trading tips to help improve. Scott also says, I really like these 2 add-ons. Thanks, MetaStock. Ari also says he uses Trade Trend and it has a hard time keeping up with Forex pairs. Forex is too manipulated. Do you want to comment on that, Dave?
Forex is really manipulative. And it's really hard just because all of the data comes from like news and the banks and things like that. So, I mean, if you're trading on those short time frames, like a 1 minute or a 5 minute, the trades are going to be very whipsawed. They're going to be very quick. You're going to get in and out within minutes. And that's just how trading the Forex is. Trade trend sometimes does have a little bit of a harder time keeping up with it. I have found that the MQ Trender does a lot better job as far as that goes with trading Forex. I've got a lot of Forex traders that use MQ Trender. But yeah, I mean, it's very manipulative. The Forex market can get pretty tricky. And so you just definitely want to make sure you're covering your stops and you're making sure that you're not on the wrong side. But that would be something that MQ Trender could identify, because it's going to make sure that you're on the right side of the market versus you putting in a sell and the pair completely reverses on you. So it's just kind of like trader be aware kind of thing.
Okay.
Is the best way I could put it.
Well, trader beware.
Like buyer beware.
All right, Dave. Well, hey, thank you so much. If you don't have anything else, I'd just like to remind people, again, thank you very much, Dave, for your presentation. It was awesome. Hey, everyone, MetaStock is a great product, and Dave has offered a really good offer. I was actually surprised when he threw up that slide. Don't forget to call him at the number displayed here, or email him, or go to sales chat and ask for Dave. Also, don't forget, tomorrow is our weekly market recap with Vince Vora, the ever-popular Vince Vora, and Saturday is our Traders Summit. And so just go to metastock.com/Traders Summit, or you can go to the link I pinned at the top of this presentation and click on that to register. Thank you all so much. Thanks again, Dave. You were awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we'll speak with you soon.
Okay, talk to you later.